This episode is brought to you by the Savannah Zombie Podcast, the podcast of author Josh Vasquez. That's me, where I talk about zombies, books, and all kinds of nerdy things. You can check it out on Anchor FM. For more information, you can go to savannahzombienovel.com.
You're tuning in today to the Adam Messer Show, and I'm your special host, Adam Messer, and my special co-host today is the author of the Savannah Zombie Novel Series, my good friend and partner in Dead Pixel Pictures, Josh Vasquez. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me again, Adam.
Dude, I am always excited to have you on the show. Like, I always have a lot of fun. And so if this is your first time listening to the Adam Messer Show, I talk with authors, artists, and entertainers, and you can catch the podcast on theadammessershow.com. I just want to put that out there because it's kind of a new thing.
Yep.
We got like a ton of stuff to talk about today, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, I've actually just been catching up on your podcast as of like this last week. Went through Mark Allen Gunnell's his episodes, and then Bobby Nash his episodes, and then I have Ryan Dunn's on my phone ready to go. Listen to those two.
Oh yeah, the Ryan Dunn. We played some of those EVPs again.
Oh yeah, that's always cool.
Yeah, I was like, what? Especially this time of the year. Well, we just had Halloween yesterday, and what is this, like the second or third time we've done like kind of like a Halloween special?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, dude. Okay, so I want to talk about the world premiere of The Devil in the Details, Dead Pixel Picture short.
Yeah, so that kind of like just came out yesterday.
Like literally yesterday.
Yeah, it's kind of under the radar. I think it was one of those things. I think it took us kind of both by
storm.
Yeah, like we're like we've definitely known about it, and we knew it was coming out on this day. But I feel like yesterday, like I don't know about you. I know you had worked this weekend.
Yes.
And like me with the kids getting ready for Halloween, I was like, oh yeah, it's time for the book launch / video premiere.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I am so glad that you picked up for me, and some of the other people jumped in because I get called into work, and you know how it goes when you have no, you can say no, but that's not really a good choice. You know what I mean? They really need you in, and so I had all these things planned, and just life happened. So. But yeah, we had the book launch yesterday, which I'm pretty excited about, what the Devils do. And then with Dead Pixel Pictures, you and I formed this little microfilm thing, like little film company, and we knocked out that. You actually wrote the script. Like I was talking to you, I was like, "Hey man, I'd like to do something with this," and like you knocked out a script.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of came together too with the Valhalla books and the book. Anthology and all that.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted was I wanted something like a commercial type thing, and I really am glad. I mean, like, dude, I was really impressed how you came back with a script like the next day.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you see so many book trailers out there, and it's just like, you know, like here's a quote from the book floating on some stock footage, and then here's a review from someone on Amazon that you don't know.
Yeah, that's why I was like, man, I don't want to do something like that. I want to do something different. And I was blown away, man. Like the script you came back with, and Bill Cooper, Melanie Goldie, and Brent Feasel were our primary actors.
Yes, and Mocha the dog.
Yeah, Mocha. She was like the twist at the end. It was so much so cool. I really like that we're doing this, and then we started working on that other project, like a new project. You feel okay with sharing the title?
Yeah, we can talk about Oh No Zombies.
Oh No Zombies?
Yeah, so it's kind of in the proto stages. We're kind of getting it ready. We shot some of the zombie stuff last weekend, and we had I thought like a really awesome turnout.
Dude, yes.
So, I mean, definitely our zombies are a little bit more on the younger side.
I was thinking we had like a youth group zombie like out in the park type thing.
So who is the teacher? You know the teacher that recommended a good bit of them.
Mary Ann.
Okay,
yeah, I cannot remember her last name.
Okay, she's I guess a teacher at the STEM school. And basically like she said like, hey, this movie thing is going on Saturday if y'all are interested in it, and we had a bunch of kids like show up, like some of them already decked out in full makeup and stuff like that, ready to go.
Yeah, Mary Ann Rogers Lamberth.
Yeah,
and they have the STEM film students as well. Yeah, so they have like a group to give a shout out to.
So they were already like kind of like making movies, and I guess they caught wind of this somehow, and they were like, all right. So
yeah, well, you know what's weird is like my friend Patrick Lapollo, I'm not saying his last name right, but he had posted a picture. Like you and I were talking about the Ono zombies. We've been talking about it for a couple months, like what we want to do as far as like getting a group of zombies together, right? Yeah. And by the way, everybody, the Ono Zombies is Josh's little brainchild, and I love the idea. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But Patrick had posted a picture of his daughter's makeup. Mm-hmm. And
was it Riley?
Riley, yeah. Yes. And he had posted a picture of it, and I was like, "Hey, man, we're doing this Ono Zombies shoot on the 24th. Okay. And you know, if you'd like to come out or whatever." And Marianne saw the post and she said, "Oh, that sounds interesting," or whatever. Sent her a message and ding, ding, ding. You know, next thing we know, I think we had like what nine zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melanie.
It's definitely looks like a full crowd.
Dude, it was cool. It was cool. So you know, you and I met what, like 4 or 5 years ago? 5 years ago now?
It would have been.
I think it was like the fall of 2015.
I think I was gonna say spring of 2014. Actually,
it might have been. Yeah, it might have been.
Because let's see, no. So I published the first Savannah Zombie novel, New Death, in October of 2013.
Because I started writing for the Do Savannah in 2014.
Yeah, I think
it was actually, October in 2014. I think.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think you're right. It was right after I published the second book, which was in 2014 October.
I had just started writing for them.
So
yeah.
I think it was just like I saw, because I was reading the Savannah Do section, and I saw that you were writing, you know, like these like Geek Fringe,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like kind of articles, and I was like, let me just try and email this dude real quick, you know, like super intimidated on my part, not like knowing you at all, and like, all right, I'm just gonna put myself out there, like maybe this dude will like reject me
and
completely.
We became like good friends.
Yeah, and then like we bonded after the I think because we did like a phone call interview at first, and then we met and stuff like that. So
well, I think it's cool, man, because you know, you inspired me a lot when I first started wanting to write, and I wrote, everybody out there, I wrote this little novella. I laugh, but I spent like 12 months just whenever I felt inspired to write.
Yeah, very beginner writer kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially for fiction. Now, like other writing, like business writing and academic writing and even journalism, I felt pretty polished, but I came to fiction, I was like, I can only write when I'm inspired. Mm-hmm. And I remember like kind of picking your brain back in the day. Yeah. You know, like, hey man, how did you do this? Especially with the publishing, because you were like kind of early to the game with the indie publishing.
I mean,
especially in Savannah, like you actually won like Author of the Year for Connect Savannah one year, right?
Yeah, I think it was 2016. Technically it was the best new local book. Somebody else got the best new local author.
Oh, okay.
So,
dude, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember picking your brain and kind of like, just like, hey, man, and, you know, just walking me through. And then, of course, 2016 is when I started the Quill, and you were like right there from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And we were going to do the convention that first year, but we got blown up by the hurricane. Yep. We ended up doing the first convention like the next year. And then we did the second year, and the second year was really flat.
Yeah.
Last year, though, when we did the Author Expo, I think that turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, it was a little bit smaller, a little bit, I think.
More intimate.
Yeah. And,
I think we had a better turnout.
Yeah.
And then this year, of course, the pandemic, we had to kind of cancel everything.
Yeah.
But with the Valhalla books, I've been working on that a lot. And like this story that I have in the anthology is actually the only thing I've published this year. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, it's got a really awesome story.
Only thing I published this year.
But it's a really good story. Yeah. You want to tell people about it a little bit?
Yeah. So as far as like the story that I have in the anthology,
yeah.
So it's the whole premise of the anthology is, you know, it's called The Devil's Due. It's about like deals that have like gone wrong, or you know, you didn't pay attention to the details, and you know, now you're in big trouble kind of deal. So my story is called The Plan, and it's about this guy who kind of sets out to get revenge against somebody who did some wrongs to him as a young kid. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of is set out to murder this guy, and ends up kind of biting off a little bit more than what he could chew. not realizing the whole demonic aspect involved with it. So yeah.
What I know I said the premise for the book. I wanted the same theme throughout the premise, but I didn't have any kind of expectations as far as like how the story, where you would come up with the idea for the story. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
All right, so the idea for the story came from an idea I had for a short film. This is before we even like got into like talking about like dead pixel pictures and stuff like that. I've been wanting to make like kind of get into filmmaking and stuff like that for a while. I had this idea for the short film, kind of based on there's a song by A Perfect Circle called The Noose. And kind of got inspired by that song and wrote this kind of like idea for it. I was like, I'm never going to make this short film. And then you came along and were like, hey, so I'm doing this anthology. Do you have a story for it? I was like, actually, I kind of do. So I basically just changed it into a short story. And then that's how I ended up with the story.
It blew me away. Like, especially the ending.
Yeah.
Really got me. I was like, ooh, it kind of leads on. It leaves you like not a cliffhanger per se, but it leaves some open ground.
Yeah, I left it open, but that's, I mean, if you've read like most of my stuff, that's kind of how I tend to leave things. Just I leave them open. Just, you know, there's closure there towards the end, but there's always an openness for more. Because like in my opinion, you never know when somebody's gonna be like, oh, like we need more of this. So like I always just leave doors open and stuff like that.
I want to give a shout out to Terry and Darlene Dremel. They sent me a message and they said they've got a major Scrabble game going on right now and they're listening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what's up, Terry and Darlene? How y'all doing? So, and they say hi to you too, Josh. So.
Okay, cool. Sweet. What's up?
Yeah, I love Terry and Darlene. They're so awesome. I mean, like they're such friendly people and nice. And actually, Darlene's birthday is the same day as my mom's birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, October the 30th. So she just had a birthday.
October the 30th?
Yeah, okay. Day before yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, going back to the whole theme here, the way that you write, and I feel like the way that I write is, when I see like the scenes playing out in my head, kind of like a movie. Yeah. And I feel like your writing is very much so like that. Like, you know, you can actually visualize the action and the dialogue and you know, that kind of thing. Like when I read the script for The Devil's Due, you know, with the devil and the details one. Yeah. I mean, I could totally see all of it. And little spoiler here, right? Yeah. You originally wrote it to have a little kitten. Yeah. End, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know how we could do that, but I know someone with a dog.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those filmmaking things. It's like, hey, I wrote it as a kitten, but we don't have one. We have a dog, though. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, it's a dog now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It was cool, though, because the way that it played out, I was very impressed with the way it all came together. You did the primary photography. I did the set photography. The acting, you know, it was kind of, I just felt like we gelled really well. You know what I mean? Even like when we did the one with the zombie, the scenes for the zombie, it's kind of like we were just working together and like, hey, what do we do? Yeah. You know, what shots do we want to get type thing? Yeah. And
plus me and I feel like we have like a really good creative energy. So we're kind of like on the same like wavelength with things. So like, even though like, I feel like there's like afterwards, I'm like, okay, well, we never talked about A, B, and C, but like somehow we were still able to get through the entire like, you know, shoot or whatever and like have no problems or anything.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too, is like, I feel like, you know, we have like a friendship, we have an openness where we could talk to each other about like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Yeah. Without the other person kind of getting like toes stepped on, you know what I mean? And that's hard. I think that's hard to do, especially when you're doing any kind of project. What goes through your mind when as you're seeing a scene with writing or with filmmaking? Because writing and filmmaking, you know, storytelling, right? Yeah. What goes through your head when you're thinking about that? Or
I mean, it's a little bit different. Like when like I'm writing, whether it's like the screenwriting or it's like writing the story and all that, like I'm able to kind of like step back a little bit, kind of, you know, give myself a wide angle view of it and kind of, you know, back up a little bit. To kind of help me tell the story and all that. But like for example, like when we were doing like the shoot for The Devil in the Details, or when we were doing the shoots last week for the zombie scenes for Oh No Zombies, it's like, I guess when I get that camera in front of me, like I am very like zeroed in and I'm thinking, all right, I need this shot, I need this shot, and I need this shot. And like, so it's like, it's almost nice like having someone like you there also be like, hey, like don't forget about this. 'Cause like, like, oh yeah, I definitely forgot about that because I was so focused on this one thing.
Director, yeah.
I'm definitely,
it's kind of weird because I hate to explain this. Well, not hate to explain it. I have to explain it like this. Mm-hmm. It's like Josh and I we're working together as one unit. Like, it's like, when we're doing different things, it's like, oh, hey man, check this out, or you're like, hey, I'd like to get this done, and we're trying to like getting the people like on their back to one, just like the kids. Some of them had never heard of that. It's like, hey, this is going to be your spot.
Yes.
Blah 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 blah, and then being flexible to do the different scenes.
Yeah, and like you were able to handle like a lot of that stuff too, where I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm waiting for this camera to finish like uploading this or finish coding this shot and all that, and I'm still trying to just set it up. So like, all right, I want this angle and stuff like that.
Yeah,
with getting the lighting and focus adjusted and stuff like that. I kind of thought about it as in like like snipers, like they have teams. Like it's not just one dude with with the sniper rifle. They have like their the person with them. I kind of I feel like it's kind of like that when like the filmmaking happens. Like I'm really super focused in, but I've also got you like with the hand on the shoulder, be like, hey, don't forget about this guy over here.
Well, doing photography is a lot the same way. When I was doing photography, I would do professional photography, and it's a lot of the same thing. You want to get certain shots, especially like at weddings or any kind of family events and stuff like that. You're looking for the angle.
Yeah.
And with filmmaking, I'm coming to find out it's a lot more about the scenes and the shots that you want, and you have to plan that stuff out. But it's also cool to be able to take advantage of, in my opinion, it's really cool to be able to take advantage of like when the kids were on the swing set. That was kind of an unplanned thing. Or like I don't know.
What was his name? He wanted to roll down the hill really bad.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, as long as you don't get hurt, we're not liable for your injuries.
Everybody, you're tuning in today to WRUULP Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, you don't want to tumble and fall like become a real zombie. WRUULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. This is the Adam Messer Show. And my special guest today, co-host today, is Josh Vasquez, the author of the Savannah Zombie Novel Series and also the host of the Savannah Zombie Podcast. Right?
Yeah. So, I kind of started doing that like after I think the first time I was on the show with you. It was kind of like, oh, okay, like this is kind of be fun. So, like mine, very much like everything I do, super low budget. Like I record it on the way to work in the mornings.
I love that, by the way. You're like I'm sipping my coffee.
Yeah, there's like a ton of like you hear the change jingle anytime I hit a bump or something like that.
I actually tried doing it like that, Josh, and I end up cussing too much. Like I'll get cut off or something like.
Oh yeah, that's like, one of my favorites. Man. Like when there's traffic incidents.
On air I don't cuss. And like when I'm doing my podcast I don't cuss. But if I'm driving and all of a sudden I get like I know one time I got cut off, and I was like, dude, on the way here, there was a guy that ran out in front of my car, like running, and I stopped, like I hit the brakes. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like thinking like, what in the world are you doing? And the guy looks at me and flips me off. I'm like, dude, you're in the street running.
Dude, so I was doing like a 2-parter the other day. Because like this month I've been talking about like zombie movies and stuff that inspired me.
I caught the Shaun of the Dead one.
Yeah, so I did Night of the Living Dead. I did 28 Days Later, Shaun of the Dead, the Dawn of the Dead remake, and then I finished it up with The Walking Dead, the TV show. And that one I felt like I needed to do a little bit longer, so I did a 2-part, like before and after work. Yeah. And I was coming home, man. I'm coming home like down Bay Street, and I don't know about anybody else in Savannah, but like. Why, like, you have to be from out of town to try and parallel park on Bay Street. Like, what are you doing? Especially, like, during rush hour.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Got the blinker on.
Yeah.
like, if you didn't get it on the first pass, you're not getting it on the backup.
Yeah, or the parallel parking, and then the people that just open their door, like, wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not on the busiest
there's no
street.
space on Bay anyway.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, come on, man.
Like, I didn't like originally when they did away with the parking on Bay Street, but I don't know, it's probably necessary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like I try to do the same thing. Like I have, actually, you again talk about inspire me, vice versa, whatever. When you put your podcast on
Anchor,
thank you. I was thinking Audible, not Audible. When you put it on Anchor, that's I had originally started with this podcast on YouTube, and then that was way too time consuming.
Yeah.
And then like Anchor was like so easy. And this is not a plug, everybody. I'm just saying Anchor, like literally the app, you could do everything in the app, even like having guests on and whatever.
Yeah, because I mean that's one of the things I talk about too on when I'm doing my podcast, because like I do have like a sponsorship with Anchor, so I get paid like a few pennies every time I mention it.
Yeah,
but
and
like
he's not getting paid today, y'all. This
yeah,
is like
no, like but like there'll be times like during like the actual episodes of like,
we're not
hey,
trying to plug any sales here.
no, but like there'll be times like during like actual episodes of like, hey, like listen, I'm not getting paid to say this right now.
Yeah.
So, but like for real, like this does make it super streamlined and very easy.
Oh my gosh!
Especially if you don't like know a lot of like audio stuff and all that. It's pretty easy.
It's very low entry level as far as what you have to learn to do it, but the quality of it is great. And they publish it. They put it out like on all the different channels.
I think that was the thing that drew me to it. Is like, all right, so how do I get my podcast on all of these different places? Yeah. And Anchor pretty much just distributes it to all of them. You just got to make sure you're signed up for them. So.
Well, the weird thing about it was I switched over to Libsyn on the podcast hosting, right? And I kept Anchor, but you inspired me to use Anchor. When you started doing Anchor, I was like, oh, I could do my podcast on Anchor. Yeah. Because I was doing it on YouTube, and it was taking, like, man, hours and hours and hours to upload it.
YouTube does take forever. I don't know what it's dealing.
I'd have to convert it from an MP3 file, which is relatively small, to a video file, which is not too big, but it's relatively large compared to, an MP3 file. Yeah. Then I'd have to upload it to YouTube, and it would just take hours and hours and hours, and it was just too tedious and time-consuming. Yeah. So I switched over to Anchor. I did, like, I don't know, a bunch of episodes on Anchor, and then I switched it over to Libsyn because I wanted to have more control over my distribution stuff. And I still have the Anchor podcast, which I think I'm actually going to revamp it for a different project coming up next year. Yeah. No spoilers on that one yet, but you're going to be part of it too. We already talked about it off air. Yeah. But one of the things I wanted to ask you with your podcast is, like, you were talking about like Shaun of the Dead, Walking Dead, Night of the Living Dead, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Just all basically like the zombie movies that inspired like, kind of me to write the Savannah Zombie Novel Series.
The little pin in the map type zombie series type stuff. For me, at least for me, I love all those movies. I've been a big zombie fan too my whole life. Yeah. And I think we both we like the Left 4 Dead series for the gaming and stuff. I know you wrote the first two, and then you've written a couple of like little novellas in between. Yeah. When you think about like those movies, and do you like kind of go back and revisit some of your favorite movies before you start writing? Does it how like some authors, they listen to music? Yeah. Does that like help you get kind of in the zone? Like,
yeah. So both music and movies and stuff like that. That's two things that really like get me. And like for me, like the hard thing is I'll like listen to like a bunch of music and stuff like while I'm at work. Yeah. Like while I'm driving and stuff like that, and I'll be like all super like psyched up, like I'm gonna go home and write, but then like I'm super tired afterwards.
Oh man. Yeah. You and I both do physical like kind of hard labor type work. Yeah. In the heat, and it's just exhausting. And then you have little kids. My kids are teenagers and family guys, and I mean, like we still have a lot of responsibilities. Yeah. You've been working on a lot of different projects too, because I mean, like you've been involved like with the anthology. Yeah. You've been involved with the movie making, stuff like that. I kind of feel like it's like a win. For me at least, I feel like when we did the Devil's Due, that was like a couple hours to shoot. It was more that for the planning and the prepping, and then you did all the production work. Yeah. I know it takes longer for all of that, but it just feels like a nice little win to get in there, knock something out, and then actually have, because like afterwards we planned it out. We had a world premiere with the Continual group. Then we had like our own little, like little Facebook premiere on YouTube. But that's out there. And it's like, it's out there. Yeah. And I feel like it's like a nice little win. And don't get me wrong. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like writing. Yeah. But writing there's a lot of work involved. And then there's the editing.
Yeah.
Which you like editing. I don't really care for editing as much, but
yeah. I know you came around to it a little bit, but it's not your favorite.
It's still not my jam.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to be able to, whatever. But how do you kind of get in that zone though to do the work? Like, we're doing the show today. This is taking 2 hours plus travel time out of your day. How do you kind of get in the zone for your creative stuff?
Well, first of all, I asked my wife very nicely if I can have the time to do that.
Smart man.
And
shout out to your wife.
Yes, she is normally very gracious to me, so she allows me to.
Does she ever say, "Oh man, that Adam messer"?
No comments.
Oh gosh.
No, it's just like, it's like, but like,
you're like, honey, I got another thing I want to do with Adam.
Adam
again.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't talk to like a lot of people on the phone. So pretty much anytime I'm on the phone, she's like, "Oh, you talking to Adam?" I was like,
"Oh gosh."
Yeah.
He's calling me again, honey.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it is like there's always something that you kind of want to get started and stuff like that, and I'm always game to do it. But yeah, as far as like, I guess trying to get into the zone to like work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, not been doing a great job of it like this the whole year. I mean, I did the anthology story, but I think it was like past the deadline. I was like, it was your second deadline. And honestly, I wrote half of that story the morning of. Like, it was definitely
it was good though, man. I mean, like
I had the idea.
First of all, you were not the only author that. Okay, so I don't want to sound funny here, y'all, but we hit a pandemic this year. I mean, it's we just can't go around the fact that life has changed this year. You were not the only author that needed an extension on their deadline.
Yeah.
But you came through. Your story was great. And that's all that counts to me.
Yeah.
It's like I actually wanted to publish this back in May. But we had a pandemic. It was like everything screeched to a halt, and then
maybe not the best time to put a book out there.
It's weird because I started planning this like last July.
Yeah.
A year ago. Like July, August. I remember calling you up like the first day I had the idea. I was like, "Hey man, I want to do like this book," and then it was going to be under the Savannah Quill.
Mm-hmm.
And then like this year in February, I was like, "You know what? I'd like to do like an actual book imprint."
Yeah, I mean, it used to be under Savannah Quill, but then kind of like Valhalla Books kind of was born this year too.
I was like, I want to do like a book imprint, like a little publishing house.
Yeah, you think it's really weird though, because we have had like the pandemic and things have been like super like.
Dude, it feels
weird,
like 10 years ago.
Yeah, creatively, but at the same time, like you started Valhalla Books this year. We started Dead Pixel Pictures this year. Like we're getting both of those ramped up. Like we shot our first short film.
And I love how they coincided on the same day for the release.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like Halloween. I love Halloween. I know you love Halloween.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a better day to pick for us to just put our stuff out there.
Yeah.
And I think, like creatively, I love like the stuff that you do, and like I love being able to talk to you about different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Nash, another great guy. I love talking with Terry. Like with his comics and stuff. Terry Dremel. That's something that for me I love doing. There's a couple other people. I like talking with Wen Strock as well.
Yeah,
he's been real busy this year with different things. But I love talking to him, and but you and I live real close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We can meet up for coffee or whatever, and that's something I think is cool. And we both like some similar stuff.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's one of the cool things for me, at least, is that kind of gets my juices flowing. It's like, man, even with all the stuff this weekend, where my whole plans, like the best laid plans of mice and men, Angst Go Gangly, all of my plans got wrecked this weekend.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, dude, I do not want to miss our show. Matter of fact, I was even talking with you about options, how we could do the show still, where you would host it if I couldn't be here.
Because it was up until like last night at like around 5 where you called me and it was like,
I didn't know.
Yeah, we were planning on me doing like a guest host and like maybe trying to get somebody else in here I
was trying to get somebody to do the soundboard.
Somebody do the soundboard because I've never done that before.
Yeah, and so little spoilers here, everybody. There's gonna be some probably in the future here soon or sometime we're gonna do some programming, where Josh is gonna be hosting the show and doing the show with us and all. So I think it's kind of cool, man, because I know you can't do it all the time, but I thought it'd be kind of neat, because I know you wanted to do the one with Tyson.
Yeah,
That would be I think that would be a really cool show.
yeah. So that's a thing that comes from my podcast.
Zombies, yeah.
Is it's called Tyson versus the Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah, you like give him a bunch of crazy like what if questions.
Yeah. He's I guess not really a former Marine, because you're never really a former Marine,
Right.
but and then he's also spent some time in the police force and stuff like that. So he's got some experience dealing with things, and so
He can handle himself.
yeah. But he's never seen like any zombie movie except for World War Z.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's his. I remember listening to your episode and like I was thinking, his baseline is really the like bar is like way up here, like
Yeah.
super type zombie,
Yeah.
infected type. We got to do the station IDs and all.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. You're listening to WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. I have the author of the Savannah Zombie Novel Series, Josh Vasquez. And here are our station IDs.
This portion of WRUU-LP Savannah Soundings programming is made possible by listeners like you and Brighter Day Natural Foods. Brighter Day is celebrating its 40th year serving the Savannah community with produce, vitamins, and supplements, and a deli and juice bar. Brighter Day is located at 1102 Bull Street at the south end of Forsyth Park. More information available at 912-236-4703 or brighterdayfoods.com.
Thank you to everyone who made a financial contribution during this year's on-air membership campaign for WRUU. Because of your generosity, we're able to continue bringing you the music and talk programs you've come to expect. And we're back on the air with our regular programming. That's what we're all about. Now, if you've somehow missed the campaign, well, you can donate anytime at WRUU.org. Donations keep us going. Thanks for your financial support of Savannah's best local talk radio, as voted by readers in the most recent Connect Savannah poll, WRUU 107.5 FM. All of us here at the station greatly appreciate what you, the community, do to make Community Radio 107.5 possible. Here's to another great year of radio.
Many critical issues are facing the residents of Savannah and all Americans, including the coronavirus, homeschooling, and the upcoming general election. WRUU has 3 programs which address these issues: The Common Good on Fridays from 2 to 3 p.m., The Happy Homeschooler on Wednesdays from 2 to 3 p.m., and We the People, The Constitution Today on Sundays from 8 to 9 p.m. Stay informed about these important issues by tuning into these programs on WRUU.
Thank you for listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
And we are back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. This is the Adam Messer Show, and I'm your host, Adam Messer. And today I have the pleasure of talking with one of my good friends, Josh Vasquez.
That's me.
That's Josh. So, man, what gave you the wherewithal to? I know the story behind the zombie, like the little movie story.
Mm-hmm.
But what kind of gave you the wherewithal to write a book? Was I remember you got you wanted to do film.
Yeah, so in high school, senior year for me, that was 2006.
Yeah.
It was like the second half of senior year. Me and a buddy, we were like into zombie movies and stuff like that. This is about 4 years before The Walking Dead came out as a TV show. Mm-hmm. So zombies weren't huge yet, but they were still kind of on the up and up. We had the Dawn of the Dead remake, 28 Days Later.
Oh, yeah.
And all that stuff kind of coming up. Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
So like, zombie movies were like,
and not to play off the zombie thing, but Underworld. What was it? Underworld?
Yeah, kind of just
vampire.
like
there was a lot of like gothic horror type stuff, which
mm-hmm.
I thought was really cool. A lot of remake type stuff. New to the genre. Just kind of like horror type stuff.
Yeah, but
there was even like there was a werewolf movie I remember too. I can't remember the name of it, but I know they did Frankenstein over.
Mm-hmm. And
it just seemed kind of like
there's Van Helsing.
Van Helsing,
yeah,
was another one, kind of like around that same time.
Yeah,
300 had come out not too long before that.
Yeah,
So there were a lot of like kind of like I don't want to say comic book type stuff, but there were a lot of those kind of movies around that era.
Yeah, because I mean that's 2006. I mean this is 2 years before like Iron Man comes out,
right?
So which was really like
Marvel dominance.
Yeah. So like I mean there were like definitely like the X-Men like Marvel movies, but it's not anywhere near like what it was like 2008 and forward.
No.
But yeah, this was
even the first Iron Man movie. It was good, but it wasn't they ramped up to Avengers.
Yeah, it's super super basic when you go back and watch it now on Disney Plus.
But when it came out, I was like, wow, this is an Iron Man suit.
But like this was like still back in the day where like if you wanted a movie,
YouTube,
you go to Hollywood
like
Video
really
and you
Facebook,
rent it, and you're like, I don't know what this movie's about. All I can go off is the cover, so like that kind of deal.
And that little back, the little blurb on the back of the box.
Yeah. But we were like super into like these like low budget like zombie movies and horror movies and stuff like that. And we got in our heads. It's like like we watched a few of them. We're like, dude, we can do something better than this. And so I wrote like an outline for the movie. Wrote like the few first pages of a script on like notebook paper. I read like this one book, which I meant to bring today so I could give it to you. It's called like how to make a movie under $10,000 and not go to jail. And it was pretty much like my basis of like where I kind of like learned how to do like movie stuff kind of deal. Because I had an interest in it. I just didn't have like the technology that like we have today. Like I had a computer, but like it was a compact Presario. I could run Doom on it and maybe Solitaire. That was really about it.
Doom.
Yeah. So that was probably another thing too. Is I spent like many afternoons playing.
You're a big fan of Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I played Doom 2 to death.
Really?
Dude, I played Doom 2 in like 95. Had the little discs. And I will admit this, a friend of mine actually hooked me up with the game.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And I played that game to death.
I don't even remember how I came across it.
Like I think it's freeware now.
Yeah, well, it was like the first episode is just a nerd out about Doom real quick. The first episode is Knee Deep in the Dead, and it was like freeware, like it was shareware. And basically the whole thing was like you can play this for free, and then at the end it's like, hey, but you can buy the rest of the game.
You can unlock the game for like $59.95.
Yeah, like pre DLC kind of deal. And so yeah, but I had like the Ultimate Edition, which had like all of the episodes and stuff on there.
I remember playing what was it, Castle Wolfenstein?
Yeah,
it was. I think it was by id as well back in the day before Doom.
Yeah, that was pre-Doom.
And a friend of mine in high school had that, and I played it like once or twice, and man, I played it so much that gosh, we got to all the cheat codes where we would just run through, zip through walls and stuff like that, and get to the final boss and just blow it up just to.
Yeah, because it was super fun to play it like without the cheat codes, but then like when you turn like all the guns on and like infinite ammo and stuff like that, and you're just able just to mow down. Yeah, it's for me it was just as much fun. But going back to the movie stuff, I'm
just trying to set the scene for like the era, because it was
pre-YouTube,
pre-Facebook.
Yeah,
I mean like pre-smartphones.
Yeah, like
like if you had a camcorder back in the day, I remember buying a Sony camcorder and paying like $1,000 for like an 8mm camcorder. Yeah,
well, my dad had one. He had one for like work, and I would make like these little like I would do like the video like when we went on vacations and stuff like that. It was like a high 8 videotape, digital videotape, and I would use to shoot like little like movies like with my Jurassic Park dinosaurs and figures in the backyard and stuff like that. Just real simple stuff. But so we were like, we're gonna do this. We're just gonna like get our hands on like some cheap cameras or something like that. Maybe like even like some like 8mm kind of deals.
Remember the VHS ones that you'd be able to pop a VHS in and record it.
So we were just gonna try. Like we'll just get our hands on whatever we can get it on. We can do this super low budget. That's the cool thing about zombie movies too, is you can kind of do it low budget and get away with it a little bit more.
Especially if you go into it knowing that it's going to be like a B type movie or C, D, E, F, G type movie.
But we were real low budget, and or we were thinking low budget, but we were actually more of like a no budget. So that's really as far as we got. And the idea kind of for this story just kind of like, honestly, I mean, it literally lay dormant in my closet on these few pieces of notebook paper that I had stored and all that stuff. Then fast forward to 2010, me and another buddy are watching The Walking Dead on TV. And we're like, this is so good.
Oh, yeah.
And even though like now we're getting like weekly doses of zombie fun and goodness and all that, we're like, we still want more.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I actually wrote this, I guess, zombie story. And I wrote kind of like the first 2 chapters of it because I had, over the years, translated like the script and outline into like at least the first 2 chapters. Very proto Savannah Zombie novel.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, send them over to me. And I'll read them and stuff like that. And he was very, like, I think he was 17 at the time, ADHD, not paying attention in school, just, kind of not having the focus and stuff like that. And I remember him, like, emailing me back or messaging me back and be like, dude, send the rest,
Nice.
So I was like, all right, cool. Well, if I can keep his attention with this, like, I feel like I could probably keep anybody's attention with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just, 1 chapter at a time. And I used the outline that I had written as kind of like a basis, but a lot of that changed as the story just got bigger than just the basic thing that we had planned for the movie.
Yeah.
And then the characters, like, were just basically, just 2D characters when we wrote it for the movie. But with a story, I was able to kind of flesh them out, give them a little bit more characteristics and stuff like that. So definitely evolved.
And you had different kind of zombies in yours.
Yeah, so the first book that I wrote, I always tell people like it was like my love letter for the zombie genre.
Yeah.
Because I love like all sorts of stuff. I love slow zombies, fast zombies. I love crazy like mutated, freaked out zombies and stuff like that.
I in Wolfenstein,
mm-hmm.
They weren't zombies per se,
mm-hmm.
but they were like the experimentations, which they were like, to me, they were kind of like cybernetic zombies.
Yeah.
Because they weren't alive, but they weren't dead.
Mm-hmm.
They were more like Frankenstein, abomination types.
Yeah.
But I always thought those were cool too.
Yeah, well, they were like secret Nazi experiments,
right?
Kind of stuff.
Like mixed bag, like in World of Warcraft has got the abomination.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I always thought that was pretty cool, like in Wolfenstein and those different games like that, because you're fighting the bad guys and like
Yeah, which I always thought like that was one of the things that like I actually liked about Doom too, is because like I come from like a kind of conservative Christian like background, like growing up in like in a Baptist church and stuff like that. So you would think Doom would be like, no, you can't play that. That's the devil's game. But I'm like,
you get to kill.
You're killing demons. Like you're getting rid of them. So
if anything, you're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. So like actually, I remember. I think it was. I want to say it was Tim
I'm probably
Willits.
gonna have somebody call in and be like, he said he's doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh.
I think it was. I think his name was Tim Willits, but he was one of the designers on the original game, and he was Mormon. And they, in an interview, somebody asked him, like, so like, do you not have an issue with this game? He's like, they're killing demons. Like, why would I have an issue with that?
Yeah. I mean, like, that is one of those things. I think it's cool. I think you could, enjoy things like that, video games and stuff like that, because it's just another level of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I know people, like, honestly, I'm not big on the buddy romance type stuff, but I know a lot of people that love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like Hallmark type movies.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely have a market. They definitely have an audience, and they're great. But it's just not my thing.
Definitely not. Which, like, and I always say it too, is like, like, people have different things. People like different stuff. Like,
like my wife loves those kind of movies.
Yeah.
But we like Underworld. We love that series. We watch that a lot.
I know he's not listening because he's lame, but my brother-in-law loves those movies. So just to put that out there.
Underworld.
Yeah. No, not Underworld. The Lifetime movies.
Oh yeah.
And the Hallmark stuff.
Yeah, the Lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and the crazy thing about it is like, what was the lady's name or the girl's name from Full House?
Candace Cameron Brew, I think it is.
Something like that. Dude, she was in like a bunch of those movies.
Yeah.
I mean, like she's been in a bunch of them, and it's great. I think it's cool. But like I grew up watching like RoboCop and Ghostbusters,
mm-hmm.
and I liked a lot of those action style, whatever. And
yeah.
I honestly have not. I don't watch a whole lot of TV anymore because we got rid of cable TV, but of course we got the different. Yeah, they suckered us into doing all the subs for like Netflix and Hulu and all.
Yeah.
But I like zombie stuff. Whenever there's a new one, like there was a new British one I watched called Zomboat.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one season, 6 episodes, but it was kind of like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Which, you know, like I like the Shaun of the Dead type stuff.
Yeah.
6 episodes, and they have to take a boat like down this canal.
Yeah.
To try to escape from the zombies, and it turns out that one of them is actually patient 0.
Mm.
So, you know, I like that kind of stuff. I can catch it, but I also like the little bit more hardcore, you know, like Dawn of the Dead type stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where there's really no comedy to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of funny moments,
Uh-huh.
you know, but it's more like a serious. Which do you prefer?
I mean, like I said, I like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So like with me, like the first book, A New Death, that I wrote in the Savannah Zombie series, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more humor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the second one, A New Darkness, surprise, gets kind of dark.
A little more.
Yeah.
A little more.
So it's a little bit more serious.
A little more blood and gore.
It's got a lot of. It's still got like jokes and stuff like that, because I put humor. Even like the short story I wrote for the anthology, like,
yeah.
Honestly, darkest thing I probably like written.
I remember you telling me like you weren't even sure.
Yeah, I was like on like that morning as I was finishing, I was like, I don't think I can finish this. I don't think I can finish this, like the whole time. And but still, like it still has like humor in it, like because I feel like you got to kind of balance
it off. You can't just do like roller coaster all the way down. It's got to have some peaks.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as far as like zombie stuff goes, I mean, I don't like the stuff that like takes itself like super serious. But at the same time, like, you know, like 28 Days Later, there's not like a lot of humor in it, but it's an amazing movie.
What's that one? I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. So I Am Legend, I don't consider a zombie movie.
Why not?
Because well, if you read the books, they're vampires. So they're not technically zombies. They zombified them for the movie because zombies were big at the time. But they're technically
vampires.
So if you watch like the older versions, like Omega Man with Charlton Heston, and then who was the other one that was in it? Was it Vincent Price? No, I don't know. There's an older version too, called the Last Man, or Why the I don't know. There's another one. There's a few of them before Will Smith came out with his dog, and so they were originally vampires, and they're like more of this like, you know, not mindless zombie kind of creature, which they are in the big blockbuster version.
Oh,
so
okay. I never read any of the books, and I wasn't aware of the other movies.
Yeah, so the book is actually titled I Am Legend, and that's by
I have a friend that loves that
Isaac
movie.
Asimov, I think it is.
Isaac Asimov?
Yeah, I think it's the same guy.
Really?
I think. I might be wrong on that.
Could be. I don't know. We can Google it.
Yeah, I'll fact check that while I'm talking. And honestly,
while you're talking, I'll fact check.
Okay, cool. So like, I Am Legend, I don't consider a good zombie movie, but a good zombie movie that is very similar, includes the same main actor, is I, Robot. I think that's the one I'm thinking. I think iRobot is Asimov.
iRobot is Isaac Asimov.
I think I'm getting those two mixed up, because I do get those two mixed up.
I do that too.
It's both Will Smith. So iRobot I consider more of a zombie movie than I Am Legend, because like the robots, I mean, you think about it, that's more of an AI zombie. Like they're just doing what they're programmed to do, which is basically a zombie. It's just a zombie is a biological, like, following the basis of what your biology is telling you to do, where a robot and iRobot, it's just following the programming of what you're told to do. So, you know,
it's interesting. I want to talk about iRobot in a second. It says that I Am Legend is a 2007 American post-apocalyptic action thriller film loosely based on the 1944 novel of the same name by Richard Matheson.
That's what it was.
Yes.
I was thinking that name, but I was like, that's not the actor, is it? And I was like, I couldn't remember.
So like in iRobot, the weird thing about it is, the programming, like the robot itself follows its programming. But you know the 3 rules of robotics.
Yeah,
it has a hard time with that, so it malfunctions. But then it's technically got its own conscience.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird. I think it's interesting. Like I read a ton of Isaac Asimov when I was a kid. Did not read any zombie novels as a kid. I watched
There
zombie
really
movies.
not a lot of zombie novels.
I know. It's like weird. I mean, like literally, this year I've been looking at different books.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a bunch of books. I've got a big, huge to be read pile.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's nice that you actually have like a to read pile. Like I haven't even entertained making a pile to read. I'm just
well, you got young kids too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, I know when my kids were little, it's like,
yeah. The only thing I'm reading are like little small picture
Pete
books.
the cat.
Yeah.
Pete the cat. That guy's from Savannah, or well, he's here. He lives in Savannah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty cool. One of the guests I had on that they know him, so I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd love to have him on, maybe.
Okay.
All right, everybody, you tune in. We got like 5 minutes left of this hour. I can't believe it. But you're listening to WRULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRU.org.
Yeah.
We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for listening. We are an all-volunteer community radio station here at WRUU. We just did our annual pledge drive, which is how we pay the bills here, because everybody here volunteers. Nobody's a paid worker, and so we don't have huge fundraisers. And then this year, we had to cancel our different fundraisers that we do, like the Tunes and Brews and a couple other things that actually help us offset our expenses and expenditures. So if you are so inclined, please go to WRUU.org and do a donation. Even $1 can help a lot. I know it sounds crazy, but if we had like 1,000 people donate $1, we'd hit we'd hit like over half of our budget for the month. So thanks a lot. Josh, where can people check out your information for the podcast and for the books?
Honestly, you can go to SavannahZombieNovel.com, but I really got to work on that website.
Yeah. So do I. Mine's like outdated.
Yeah. I tried to like update it a while ago, and I think something I did went wrong, so it doesn't look quite the way that it's supposed to. But most of the time I'm on if you just I'll go on Instagram, Savannah Zombie Novel. That's pretty much my go-to on everything.
Sweet.
That's where I'm at the most.
And your story that just came out in the Devil's Due is called
The Plan.
The Plan.
Yeah.
The Plan.
Yeah.
By Josh Vasquez.
Yeah.
Which I think was actually very. I mean, like, I know I'm a little partial because I was the publisher and the editor for it, but I really enjoyed the story.
Thanks.
I think it was a nice little plot twist. I think it was great following the premise with the deal gone wrong and the devil comes to collect, and I want to talk more about that in the next hour. But everybody, you're tuning in today, and thank you for listening to the Adam Messer Show. If this is your first time, you can check out the AdamMesserShow.com and catch this podcast. We'll have both hours on there, and stay tuned because we'll be back at 4 for another hour of power with the man himself, Josh Vasquez.
That's me.
That's him. All right, thanks, y'all.
All right.
Thank you for listening to
You are listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org,